All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, whichever channel you're watching this on.
We're not in the center. Look how far I am. This thing, I can't see myself because of this. It drives me nuts.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, whatever channel you're watching this on, whether it's Sonar Fishing My channel or Matt Steffen Fishing. We wanted to do a video together because we just did a spinnerbait making class together at the Wiley X High School Fishing Camp here on Kentucky Lake. And I thought it was a really cool class. I really enjoyed kind of teaching a little bit about the different components of spinnerbaits and, you know, how to manipulate those components to make them fit certain situations. So Matt and I wanted to kind of share some of the tips that we gave in that class to you guys. And so I've got my my Spinnerbait Customization Kit. That's actually for spinnerbaits and jigs. I've got a ton of different skirts that I carry with me on the road. We've got, you know, more for jigs over here. And then we've also got the other components like the blades. I would think that the blades are probably one of the most important, but also the less understood part of customizing a spinnerbait. I'm gonna kind of break down some very simple tips for you. The first off, we need to understand what the two main types of blades do, different from each other. So you've got willow leaf blade and then you have Colorado leaf blade. The Colorado has a lot of vibration because it has a lot of surface area, has a wide arc that it spins in, and so it creates a lot of lift, and again it creates a lot of vibration, but it doesn't have a lot of flash to it. On the other side of the spectrum, and there's a couple other variations in the middle, you've got the willow leaf. It's shaped like a willow leaf. It's very narrow, thin, slender, and it has a very narrow arc of spin. So it creates very little vibration, very little lift, but it also conversely creates a lot of flash. It's really, really good for clear water, warmer water situations like that. So with that in mind, that's kind of the basis for how I'm going to customize a spinnerbait. Another thing that's really important for how I'm going to customize a spinnerbait is the size of the bait fish that I'm presented with. On Kentucky Lake, we noticed that there was a lot of like really small shad that are swimming around, and so instead of like fishing a big, you know, like number 5 or number 6 willow leaf blade, maybe I'm gonna go down to something like a 4, 4.5 or something like that. Something smaller that's gonna imitate those bait fish, because a spinnerbait is essentially a really good bait ball imitating presentation. And so I'll downsize based on the size of the bait fish that I'm seeing. And then I'm also going to be mixing and matching the different types of blades. So I will, you know, use a Colorado lead blade and then a willow leaf blade, and I might even take all of the blades off and put one single blade like I did at the Grand Lake event several years ago. You know, I put one big Colorado on there and just slow rolled that. So you can manipulate the speed at which you can fish these baits, the amount of vibration, and also the amount of flash that you're getting out of these spinner baits just by changing the blades. So make sure that you really adjust your blade combinations and the selections that you make based on the conditions and what you're trying to achieve with that bait. The last thing I will mention is when you're putting these blades on, especially if you have a tandem blade, well, actually only if you have a tandem blade, so you have two different blades, is make sure that the bulge is pointing towards the front of the bait, not the cup. The cup needs to be pointing towards the hook side of the bait, if that makes sense, because that's where you want the water to hit first, is right on that bulge. So just an idea for you. Matt's gonna have a tip on a skirt.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we recognized while doing that class is I think we found that the kids were not aware that you really could customize a spinnerbait. Like, I think most of them looked at it and said, well, it comes with 2 tandem willow leaf blades, and Miles really quickly showed them you can swap those off. I mean, all you got to do is bend out the little circle at the end, bend it out, and you can slide all the components off, put new components on, slide them right up. It really takes a matter of like a couple of minutes at most. If you're efficient with it, you can do it really fast.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to customize it to change the presentation and the appearance of the fish. If you don't have all those extra blades though, there's a couple other things that you can do that are really simple in terms of changing the bait to get a different appearance out of it. So one of the things that I like to do, and I've talked about it on the channel before, is to remove the skirt. If I remove the skirt and I put on, say, just a boot tail or a fluke, something along those lines, what that allows me to do is to get my bait much deeper, because I don't have the mass, I don't have the bulk, so it's more streamlined in the water. It's gonna get the deeper depth. So if I'm out on Kentucky Lake and I'm trying to fish ledges, I'm gonna remove the skirt altogether and just use probably a fluke, maybe a boot tail, but remember, a boot tail grabs water, creates rise. If that's not what I'm going for, I'm not gonna do it. So that's a pretty simple tip, straightforward. A lot of people know that. Here's something that most people don't know. If you wanna create additional bulk, you want to create a bait that's going to rise more in the water, and you want a bait that you can slow down dramatically. Let's say you don't have the Colorado blades, right? So I'm stuck with my willow leaf blades, which we know don't create rise, but I'm fishing shallow water, I'm fishing cold, muddy water, and I want to create bulk, and I want to create a much slower presentation. You can take additional skirts and put them right onto your spinnerbait. So in this case, I'm going to slide another skirt on, get it up over the keeper, slide it up the collar, and what I've just done is created a much more bulky bait.
And you kind of combined a bunch of different colors there.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I'm modifying colors. If I wanted to put on a pink, I could put on a pink, but I'm going to change the bait appearance a little bit. I've just doubled the amount of strands. That creates bulk, it creates more flare. If I'm fishing super muddy water and I want a really bright bait to stand out, now I've got more material for the fish to key in on, but that more material is going to create more rise because it creates drag in the water. So now I can reel my bait even slower, I can keep it by the targets that I'm fishing, and it's just keeping the bait in the strike zone longer. So don't think you just have to remove material. In this case, you can add more. I could add another skirt if I wanted to really bulk it up. It's one of those things, guys, sometimes you gotta think out of the box. Just because you buy a spinnerbait doesn't mean you gotta fish it that way right out of the package. If you carry a couple of simple materials, like some blades, so you don't have to have bags
you don't
full.
have to have that much.
But you just need a couple of things. I mean, at the same time, you can steal other components off other spinnerbaits. I'm honestly, guys, every time I break a spinnerbait, I always keep those components. So I've got spare parts from other broken spinnerbaits. It's a great thing to do. It's something I know I had a lot of fun teaching the kids how to build a spinnerbait, but at the same time, how they can simply modify it, which is why I thought we should do a video on this.
Heck yeah. I mean, I've been modifying spinnerbaits for a long time, as you can see. I've got a lot of components, and it's really helped me. You know, again, going back to that Grand Lake event, I got third place in my best finish so far on the pro circuit by modifying a Z-Man sling blades to have that one single Colorado blade, because I wanted to achieve that slow roll with a little bit more thump. So, you know, modify your spinnerbaits. Sometimes you can find the exact bait that is going to get you more bites on the water. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on both of our channels, Matt Steffen Fishing, Sonar Fishing, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you out on the water.